Well, as Pat mentioned, let's start talking about the Arlington Bridge. And for me, this is a story that is very, very critical to Winnipeg. Why? Because yes, we're talking about a transportation route, but we're talking about one that is critical to connect the north and south parts of the city. We're also talking about an area of the city where many a politician has run campaigns on talking about moving the rail yards that are beneath the Arlington Bridge to further enhance that connection, strengthen the connection between north and south Winnipeg. But the bridge right now goes right over those rail yards. So it's central to the city, it's critical to the city, but it is in serious disrepair. We are in the first morning of the Arlington Bridge not being part of your daily commute. It has been closed for repair before, many times, even for weeks on end. But now this is a no-go zone for a long time and perhaps permanently, as they will assess in February. The city announced the closure yesterday after a recent bridge condition assessment. It means that all traffic and pedestrians have to take a detour across the rail yards, as I mentioned, beneath, or around the rail yards, rather, that run beneath the bridge. There had been calls for the 121-year-old bridge to be replaced, and those calls date back to 2011. Brad Neirinck is the manager of engineering with the City of Winnipeg's Public Works Department. Now, as we walk through this morning, what you're thinking about it, we're hoping you'll call us about it. We wanted to first start the show with revisiting what actually went wrong here. So he spoke with Cory Funk on Up to Speed yesterday.
We've been studying the bridge for quite some time. The bridge has been near the end of its service life since the mid 2015, 16, something like that. So we've been doing a couple of studies on it. We did a bridge crossing study to determine whether it was required, which it is. And we did a preliminary design study for a new bridge, which was completed in 2019. And that had a $320 million price tag, so it was placed on the city's unfunded list at that time. So this year we put out another study to determine whether it's feasible to fix the existing bridge in the short term. And so the first part of that was this bridge condition assessment that we undertook. And so that's been going on during the summer. And this fall, we also did some maintenance on the bridge. We had the bridge closed for about 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. And we definitely noticed that there was an acceleration in the deterioration we're seeing. The detailed inspection identified accelerated deterioration as well. And we've also done some structural analysis to support that. So now everything is adding up. Now is the time to close the bridge until we can determine whether the bridge could be rehabilitated and then reopened at some point in the future.
And is there any timeline, like even a rough estimate of like when it could possibly, like, or even, of how long this might be closed for or when it might be open?
Yeah, so our next portion of the study would be completed by about February. So that would be to determine whether it's even feasible to repair it or not. But even if it's feasible to repair it, there would have to be a design process and a construction process. And the construction process would probably be a minimum of 2 years. So you're probably looking at least 3 years of closure from now.
Oh, wow. Okay. This bridge right now is part of a major route in and out of the north end. Where are you kind of encouraging drivers to go in the meantime?
Well, at this point, they'll have to disperse into other routes. We're not identifying a specific route. We do close this bridge annually for about a month every year for maintenance. That's been happening ongoing for several years now, and obviously McPhillips and Salter and Main Street are the options, as well as Q8. But people will have to judge the routes and take additional time and judge accordingly. We've never really closed the bridge in winter before, so we expect that it would probably be significant delays in the winter as well.
In your engineering opinion, I mean, there's lots more that goes into it than simply you kind of just judging. But do you think it needs to be replaced, or do you think it can be rehabilitated?
It's too soon to tell. We need to complete the study that we're doing right now to determine whether it is feasible to replace it. There's a lot that goes into that, including temporary works that has to occur while the bridge is being rehabilitated. Mm-hmm. Can you rehabilitate it over a working rail yard? All of that has to be taken into account.
Okay. And is there a chance it could be open to just pedestrians or cyclists at all, or will it be pretty much indefinite everything?
At this point, we're saying no. We need to keep it closed completely, and then we'll we could reassess that after we have to undertake some maintenance right now to make sure that the bridge integrity is maintained, so that there's safe railway operations underneath. So we're going to be doing that. We can reassess that at another point, but at this point we're saying no, it's indefinitely closed for both pedestrians and vehicles.
Okay. And what does the city plan to do, if it's determined that the bridge does need to be decommissioned? Have you thought that far?
Yet, we would have to look at a decommissioning plan, which would be fairly difficult. We did look at one as part of the decommissioning this bridge as part of a new bridge to the west in 2019, and there's significant work to go into that in order to pick up those spans, put them down, and demolish them. So we did look at that in 2019. It's significant.
So the bridge is closed. Brad Neirinck is manager of engineering for the City of Winnipeg's Public Works Department, talking about the Arlington Bridge closure there with CBC's Cory Funk, who's been guest hosting on Up to Speed. I just want to mention something because an idea came up in that interview. Cory was asking the guest about Brad Neirinck about the idea of could it remain open to pedestrians and cyclists? And while that's not possible right now. In the past, that's been one of the calls for this bridge, so one of the ideas. People point to the pedestrian bridge behind the Bridge Drive and ice cream shop on Jubilee, of course, that sees tons of foot traffic during the spring and summer months. And so some people were calling that maybe Arlington, that could be the future of Arlington in some way. Of course, you still have to get around in this city. So we're asking right now, this morning, on our Facebook page, and for you to call the listener line, how will the closure of the Arlington Bridge impact you? 788-3205.